At the July 28th City Council meeting, the mayor is raked over the coals for a city lawsuit against local property owners allowing an unhoused encampment. Other comments about construction bidding rules, property redevelopment plans, and tenant-landlord rule changes packed less heat, but it was an undeniably charged night at council. Welcome to What Lansing Council, a podcast transforming Monday night's Lansing City Council meetings into an enthralling recap. I'm your host, Jill Dombrowski, and today my special guest is Eric Tanz. Eric works as an environmental scientist research librarian with Michigan State University. He is a member of the Capital Area Transportation Authority CATA board and is a top scorer for the Brew-ons at the Ice Cube hockey rink. Welcome, Eric.
Thanks, Jill. I'm happy to be here. I should mention that the views expressed on this podcast are my own and do not reflect Michigan State University Libraries, Michigan State University, or the Capital Area Transit Authority.
Or the Brew-ons.
Or the Brew-ons.
All right, fine. Thanks for being here. Could you tell us how you would describe Lansing in your own words?
Lansing is a hub of excellence. It is right in the middle of the state. It is connected to everything. It's the capital. And it is just really great.
Yeah, it's really great. What's another thing you like about it?
I love the river trail and I love the Red Cedar River. So I think the way that the rivers kind of flow through the city, connecting it to different communities, and the opportunities that you have to recreate on it with the river trail and access points on the water. That's something that I really appreciate about the area and the way that it kind of helps to connect not just Lansing, but the surrounding communities and even all the way out to Lake Michigan. So it's a literal connection to the Great Lakes.
It's wonderful. It is, and something to remember. You know, we're part of a larger ecosystem here.
Absolutely.
In many ways. And what's something you'd love to see changed about Lansing?
I would love to see the way that people move around the city change. I'd love to see different infrastructure that supports things like more buses, more bikes, more pedestrians, more trains, and fewer cars and slower cars.
Yes.
The speeding cars in Lansing is a big issue. But I think, my dream for Lansing is for there to be a train that goes from Detroit to the airport, to Ann Arbor, to Lansing, to Grand Rapids, to Muskegon. And I think that would just be amazing.
Boy, that would be amazing. People would be getting out, recreating all over the place.
I know. All the way across the state.
All the way across the state. And I recently have seen some of the CATA bus with the wraps, and those are really cool. What's going on with those?
Yeah, I think that, it's just an opportunity to advertise. Some companies can buy wraps or pay for them. I've seen the ones with I-5 and the dinosaurs. And before that, there was the big Barbie wrap of the big pink bus, which was really fun. So it's just a nice way to kind of make place and to have CATA support things that are going on in the community.
Any other CATA updates?
Well, CATA is preparing for our 2026 fiscal year. We are looking to maintain our service levels for the next year. There is the potential that revenue streams might change in the coming year with federal and state funding changes. But for the next, at least the next year, we'll maintain our services and reevaluate once we know what the funding situation is going to look like for the future.
All right. That sounds like the party line to me. So let's get into the meeting. We are at the July 28th, 2025 meeting. And I have made some maps here. We can look at these. And I've plotted out the different areas where things come up in the city at the meeting. So my Patreon members can see these. And also for this first one, everybody can find this on the whatlansingcouncil.com website or the Facebook page. So follow along with the maps. At the meeting, we have 7 council members present. The president, Ryan Cost from the 1st Ward, Jeremy Garza from the 2nd Ward, Adam Hussein from the 3rd Ward. Absent is Brian T. Jackson of the 4th Ward.
My friend, Brian T. Jackson.
Your friend, Brian T. Jackson.
Our children play together.
That's wonderful. Do you go running with him?
No, I don't think I could keep up with him. He's too fast.
It's pretty fast. Unfortunately, he was not there. He really missed out. I think he would have had a lot to say this meeting. Our current at-large members are Jeffrey Brown. He's present, running for mayor. Tamara Carter, our vice president, is there, as well as Trini Pelivanoglu and Peter Spatafor. Peter Spatafor is running for the 4th Ward seat, but currently is at-large. Also present at this first meeting, the Committee of the Whole, is Greg Venker, our city attorney, and Sherry Boak, the recording secretary. Up first is a Board of Water and Light reappointment for Anthony Mullen. He is an at-large member, and it was too bad that Jackson wasn't there, because at every meeting leading up to this, he's been like, we need to sweep these BWL folks out. We need a new board. They're just rubber stamping everything. But Hussein did a good job of grilling this guy in Jackson's absence. So Mullen says, I bring a real-world perspective to the board because I work in collections, and as an Uber driver, I have a pulse on what the people of Lansing want from BWL, and that is mostly to not have their water shut off.
That sounds reasonable. I wonder if he's asking the people that he drives in his Uber about how they feel about BWL.
That would be amazing. What would you say if you got into an Uber and he asked you what you thought of BWL?
I would say that since we had that big ice storm about 10 years ago, we almost never get the power off at my house, which I appreciate, but it comes at the cost of lopping off the tops of trees in the neighborhood, and that doesn't look very nice. So I wish that there was a way to balance the two.
Yes, some pros and cons there for sure. Let's see. Hussein asks him, you've been on the board for a while. What's something you're proud of? And Mullen says, I'm proud of how BWL is working to bring economic prosperity to the region by, I guess, approving the construction of the Ultium battery plant, which is now the LG battery plant.
I didn't know that BWL had a role in that.
I also did not, so that's something we learned.
Okay.
Hussein then said, so people are worried that the board is just rubber stamping everything the general manager wants. How do you disagree with him? And Mullen says, well, I think Dick is a reasonable guy, but personally, I don't think we should be shutting off anybody's water. Water is a human right. We should separate the water and the power bills. The power bill is usually a lot higher than the water bill. So if people can pay the water bill, let them do that.
Yeah.
So that was something. He said Dick doesn't necessarily disagree, but he's more focused on the business.
Sounds like a general manager.
Yes. Hussein says, how do you engage with the public? And Mullen says, the people I meet through my various jobs and online, I do my best to counter misinformation where I see it. Great.
Okay.
Pelivanoglu says, how do you feel about continuing to improve with clean energy even if there are no federal mandates? And he says, yes, we need to keep going with it. It's the future. And Garza says, thanks for being here. And Brown says, also, thanks for being here.
Always good to get a double thanks.
It's always good. He is unanimously reappointed in the general meeting. Next, Pelivanoglu introduces an ordinance to amend city council attendance rules. There will now be punishments for council members who skip meetings without excused absences. First, you get a warning from Clerk Swope.
Uh-oh.
Second, a censure. And third, you have to pay back 1/26th of your council salary per meeting.
Is that
so?
Are there 26 meetings per year?
Yes, I think the salary is around $35,000, so that's like $1,300 you'd have to pay back. Enough for a CATA bus wrap? What do you think?
Maybe.
And so you'd have to pay back money for the third council meeting you missed, but this also applies to committee meetings.
Oh.
But you'd only have to pay back $100 for missing your third committee meeting.
Is there a big issue with people missing meetings, unexcused absences?
So there was a public comment later about this that was like, yes, I'm in favor of this because of Brandon Betts, who basically gave up on council.
Yes.
Who was our first ward council member.
That was quite the time.
A few years ago. It was quite the times. And then after 5 missed meetings, you are booted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Hussein said, we were hoping that the charter folks would take this up in their review, but that didn't happen, so I'm in support of this. Another public commenter was also in favor of this, and she said, I have heard at some of the meetings with the folks who want to run for council this year, at one of them, somebody said, well, I think you can accomplish things without going to meetings, and I did not like hearing that. It should be the expectation that you go to the meetings.
I agree. That it seems like a pretty low baseline for being on city council.
Please go to the city council meetings if you want to be on city council. Great. So then there was a break and tons of folks were coming in. Emily Dievendorf, our state representative. Lots of folks from the rent is too damn high. And lots of business casual to business regular folks. Many council people are coming out to say hi to their friends in the audience, and I overheard one awkward moment in which Brown said to Loretta Stanaway, hello there, young lady. It's like, let's take a jab at someone's age and gender in one go. So that was something. My best dressed award this meeting goes to Nick Zaney, and he always wears wonderful t-shirts to the meeting, but this one I found particularly relevant. It said, dogs are my favorite people, and it had a bunch of dogs.
What was the top dog on the shirt?
Actually, the dogs were like facing away from you, but I think it was a German Shepherd.
So it was like dog butts?
Yeah. they were sitting down, so it wasn't just the buttholes. Okay. Just like dogs sitting patiently with their backs to you.
Oh, so they were some good dogs.
Good dogs, yeah. Not a lot of good dogs at this meeting. Regular meeting begins. Clerk Chris Swope is here, as well as Mayor Andy Shore. Up first, we have a board appointment for Cambriana Crank to the Gateway Corridor Improvement Authority Board. And this is North Grand River from the airport into Old Town. You can see it on the map.
Yes, and I appreciate the map because I wasn't sure where that was when I looked at the agenda for the meeting.
It's that road that takes you from the airport into town. She lives along there. She's worked for the Lansing Area Economic Partnership Group. This is a group that does like small business assistance in the area. She says she's done an inventory of the vacant businesses. I think there were like 38 or something. And she wants to see improved walkability.
Oh, I love it.
Along that corridor. So that would be something. I actually biked that road last week to do something for the Lansing Parks and Rec treasure hunt and was not a comfortable bike ride.
No thanks.
No thanks. So this was my favorite thing that happened at this meeting. After they had talked about her, then they do the vote, and Chris Swope says, all in favor of appointing her, say aye. And there's this little kid sitting in front of me, and he was like, aye.
She convinced him.
The mom was like, shh. But glad that kid was also in favor of her appointment.
Yeah, she sounds like a go-getter. She's doing the assessment of the vacant buildings.
I know.
That's great.
Yeah, so looking forward to what comes out of that Corridor Improvement Authority Board.
Which, like, that corridor, it could use some improvement.
Yes. I'm glad that is a thing. Next, Stephen Robertson was wanting to be appointed to the Zoning Appeals Board. He is a real estate investor and developer, and he thinks that self-reliant communities need good zoning. Everybody was happy with him. One more thing about the board appointments. The mayor took a picture of Cambriana's swearing in, but not Robinson's.
Oh.
So, sorry, Robertson. Next, the mayor gave some comments about the events of last weekend and the upcoming events in the week, including the grand opening of the newly renovated Mount Hope Elementary School. He said his kids went there. So we're all excited to see that. Swope reminds us we are 8 days away from the city primary, 7 days now. 1/3 of absentee ballots have been returned.
I have not returned mine yet, but I intend to.
Better get on that.
I'll do it.
Great. And is by absentee ballot your preferred voting method?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes, I pretty much only vote absentee at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So
for the convenience.
The convenience is just undeniable.
Yes. Thanks for mailing those out, Clerk Swope.
Oh, yeah.
Next, there were 4 scheduled public hearings, and I really wish that they would do these one at a time because it gets pretty confusing when the public's like coming up to comment. Like they don't have to say which one they're commenting on. Then most of them just like jump right in to what their comment is. So I've separated these out for your listening pleasure.
That's the role that you play here. That's a public service.
Thank you. The first was for a noise permit on the road along Pleasant Grove from Holmes to Mount Hope. And they're just redoing the road, no changes to road layout or anything, and no public comment for that. Next, we had a noise permit for the combined sewer overflow work staging area at the north end of Large. That's on the map. One public comment here, and this guy, he was like, this is absolutely horrible. Dust is everywhere in my neighborhood from this construction staging area. Neighbors can't play in their yards. They have asthma. The noise is triggering many anxiety attacks for me. We are used to living in a noisy area right by Larch here, but this has been excessive and intolerable. This is a Hispanic neighborhood, and it feels like this would not be happening in a wealthy white neighborhood. I'm feeling marginalized and neglected. Please deny this permit and move this staging area.
Wow, that's pretty powerful.
Yes. I was like, yeah, get that out of there. And then there was a public hearing for a brownfield redevelopment plan, which we've heard about at previous meetings. This is by developer Brent Forsberg at Pleasant Grove and West Holmes. And there were 4 public comments in support from members of the Land Bank, Brett Forsberg himself, member from the Hispanic Chamber, and from Southwest Action Group. Southwest Action Group Paul Anderson said, this is an act of healing. These folks never gave up on this place. What happens in Southwest Lansing matters for all of Lansing. We are repairing the past and unlocking the future.
Oh, wow. Sounds like there's a lot going on with Pleasant Grove right now in Southwest Lansing.
Pleasant Grove is really getting it. Swope says there were more letters from other groups also in support. Next, we hear about an ordinance change to clarify the most responsive and responsible bidder for construction bids on city projects. I guess currently it's like whoever's cheapest, you get it. So
what could go wrong?
Yeah, exactly. Some local contractors are there, and they're like, for the most part, we are for this, but there is one little part of this that says you give advantage to contractors with federally accredited apprenticeship programs run by the U.S. Department of Labor. But they said there are many other types of certified apprenticeship programs that are just as good, such as LCCs.
Oh, yeah.
I guess my question is, why isn't the LCC program nationally certified? But
it's a good question.
No, I did not ask that.
You could bring somebody from LCC onto the podcast.
Perhaps I will. And a bunch of other labor groups, like a bunch of people were here for this, like 4 or 5 other people from Plumbers and Pipe Fitters, Build and Trade Council, the Electricians Union, Michigan Labor District Council. They're all there saying that this is all great as written. We're modernizing the bidding process, improving safety standards. Data shows that this will be good. Other Michigan cities have adopted similar things. So
we don't want to fall behind the other Michigan cities.
Yeah, let's not fall behind with our reasonable bidding process. During this, there's some issue with the live city TV feed, but it gets fixed up. Swope says a few more letters are also in support of this and one other letter in concern. So that's it for the scheduled public hearings. We're on to resolutions for action. We have a Southwest Lansing Brownfield plan from the last 2 meetings by Novi Properties Group on Miller Road. And that's the most southern one here. And this is approved. Everyone is happy. Next, Pat Gillespie has his plan on East Michigan Ave, where the current city rescue mission is. This is also unanimously approved. The live city TV feeds back up.
The last fill-in for the stadium district for him. It's gonna really change the face of going into downtown on Michigan Avenue.
It is, yeah. That Michigan Ave corridor improvement group must have been happy about this.
Yeah, they'll be They'll be resting on their laurels.
That's right. One thing he said that was not my favorite is there's like those rain gardens that they put in.
Yes.
He's like, I don't like the fences around those because people just lock up their bikes to those and it looks so tacky with those bikes.
Well, maybe you should put in some bike racks then.
Perhaps that would be another solution, Pat.
That could be part of the design.
That would be a great idea. The developers then get up and pats each other on the back and they leave, as well as the building industry folks. So, bye.
Their work is done.
Their work is done. They set some public hearings for the next meeting, and those include updating fire codes for things like electric vehicles. And also that one on the city council attendance will be a public hearing for next meeting. Okay, great. And now down to like action. So, rental dwelling insurance. This has been a thing that's been talked about for a few meetings. And so there's like a few parts of it. And the first part is somebody has to have some sort of insurance or sign something. Now they'll just have to sign something that's like, yep, we understand we have no insurance. We'll be cool if something goes wrong. They can have insurance or they can sign the thing.
Be cool.
Yes, will they? Time will tell. Okay, one person gets up to give a public comment on this. The city has improperly staffed code compliance. If the code compliance department was doing its job, then properties would not be allowed to turn into disaster dwellings, and the problems with these rental business should be caught before they become unlivable.
Yeah.
So this ordinance change isn't going to fix this. Like, this is a problem with, like, city inspectors not doing their jobs.
Right. Yeah. Well, how many unlivable houses are there right now?
Well, I'm so glad you asked that because during the next section of this is that landlords or somebody has to pay the city back if the city has to cover the relocation costs for people. And while that was going on, the Lansing State Journal guy who was sitting near leaned over and said to me, "This has only happened one time." And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, it has only happened one time that the city has had to pay back relocation fees. And it was just recently for the Sycamore Townhomes debacle."
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that adds a lot of context to this that I didn't know before.
Once is enough, I guess.
I guess once is enough. So, yeah, President Costa is saying, look, this isn't everything we wanted, but it is a good step towards helping to protect tenants. And we've been working on this for 3 years, including past council members Wood and Spitzley and Washington. And Pelly Vonnegut says it's not a mandate. They don't really have to do anything, so I support it. Councilmember Hussein says this is one of the most responsible things we're doing on council for the whole time I've been here. And there has been really robust involvement in this process. A lot of different players have come to talk with us, and we're really happy about that.
So if it's not a mandate, why would somebody do it?
So it's not a mandate that they have to have insurance, but they do have to sign a sheet of paper that says they don't have insurance.
Okay.
And that they'll be cool. I mean, that's the mandating is the signing the be cool paper.
The being cool.
Yes.
Can you mandate that somebody be cool, though?
They're trying. The second part is this tenant relocation fee must be paid back to the city if they have to do it. And so Councilmember Brown is like, how do we know for sure whose fault it is, who has to pay us? Like, if the tenants cause the problem, then maybe they should have to pay. And President Cost says, we can trust our code compliance inspectors to do a good job and figure that out.
Previous comments might disagree.
Indeed. But this passes unanimously also. Now we're getting to the end of like the business of the meeting. Of like this, we've gotten through the whole agenda, and now it's like time for the public can come up and talk about what they want to talk about.
And that's the fireworks.
Yes, this is the fireworks. And before this gets going, President Cost reminds folks, please no clapping during this. We want people to feel safe sharing all of their opinions. Like maybe they have a dissenting opinion from the majority of folks. So hold your applause. that does not work out for him.
Uh-oh.
18 people spoke out with, to put it mildly, disappointment over the city's lawsuit against property owners who are allowing an encampment on their property just north of Dietrich Park. Most of these folks seem to be with the Rent is Too Damn High group. One was our state representative, Emily Devendorf. She went overtime, as well as 2 mayoral candidates, punks with lunch helpers, mid-Michigan tenant leaders, folks who have previously lived in the encampment, and one person who is currently living there now.
Okay.
And this person, it was all just awful, heartbreaking. But the person who was living there said that she was a victim of domestic violence, which led to her being unhoused. Her father has helped her build a structure on this property. Almost everyone living there is disabled in some way. The lack of care that the city is showing for her life and the lives of her friends and family members is despicable. The city has lied to them. These property owners are helping more than the city has. We will work to maintain a healthy standard of living for ourselves here. Just give us back our dumpster. They won't collect trash from the site anymore. And please help us. Don't sweep us. So that was some very powerful comments. There were many others speaking up saying there's so many other options besides just sweeping this camp. Like, there's so many different things you could be doing. This will be making things so much worse. One call out against the Michigan Waterways Stewards guy who is working to clean up parks along the river, basically doing the Parks Department job. But in doing so, he's like destroying some other encampments.
Okay.
So they not in support of that. We need a committee on homelessness. Like, this is a problem that we all care about. Let's work together. Like, work with us.
I'm surprised there isn't one already.
Yeah.
The city has lots of committees.
They sure do. What's one more? They were thanking Councilmember Pelivonoglu for coming out to tour the camp. Another commenter said, Mayor Shore, your actions are nightmare fuel. You are using taxpayer money to torture, traumatize, and kill people. Do your job. I feel safer in the encampment than I do in downtown Lansing. You are undermining a solution that has been created in the vacuum of you not doing your job. This city lawsuit is a cowardly way for the city to avoid bad press. There was a quote of the Emma Lazarus poem on the Statue of Liberty. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. This means nothing to you, Andy Shore. You will rot in hell.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Grand Central Park during the Great Depression was an encampment. There's some precedent for allowing people to survive. It is now a crime to be a living person in Lansing. Others spoke out about the Sycamore Townhomes forced relocation. They were promised relocation money, but they have not gotten it. Please help us. We voted for you. Help us out. And during this, President Cost was constantly having to ask folks not to clap.
Once you put it out there, you gotta stick with your guns.
There were a few snappings going on, but one person in particular was clapping after everyone, and Cost was giving him the death stare, but that's as far as it went.
Yeah. What's he gonna do?
I don't know. I mean, so during this, there's a few breaks. Like, people are talking about other stuff. And this one guy comes out, self-identified Guy Smiley, living extravagantly downtown. He just gives such a big, beautiful shout out to everybody at the meeting. He names each council member individually and says how appreciative he is for their work and says something very individual to them, some sort of interaction he's had with them. He does this for the mayor. He does this for Swope. He does this for Loretta Stanaway, for Mike Ellis, for Nick Zaney. It's just
wow,
so beautiful.
He's really, really in the know.
He's really in the know. And he's just so happy to be there and happy that everybody's there.
It sounds like he should be a guest on your podcast.
He would be a good guest. That's true. Yeah, so that was nice. Two folks were speaking out about Farhan Omar. on the first ward. He is our first ward representative on the police commissioner's board. He's being pushed out. One comment was, "You do not control our voices in the city." And then another comment was, "Crime was up this weekend," which is what the dispute with Farhan is really about. He's saying that crime is not down, and the mayor is saying, "You're lying, crime is down."
I recall listening to that on a previous episode.
Good, great. Devotees will recall.
Yes, Patreon members.
Yes. So someone was saying crime was up this weekend. There were stabbings, there were shootings. We need to act and innovate. What we're doing now isn't working. We need more money for the police, fire, parks, and public safety.
Yeah. Well, it seems like innovation and new ideas and creative thinking, like we have to apply that to all the different issues that are in the city, whether it's, helping out people who are unhoused, or applying it to crime and crime reduction, or traffic violations and speeding. Like, it seems like a lot of times we're just trying to do the same things over and over again, and not really taking the time to think about new and creative solutions to these problems that don't seem to be going away.
Solutions have to come from somewhere, and this is where they're going to come from. Yeah. Like, people are, like, these groups are trying so hard on their own, like these individual groups, to help these problems. Yeah. Like, people are trying to solve this problem, and they're like really running up against a wall.
Yeah, they're doing what they can within the means and the system that they exist within.
Yes, yeah. So there's like an appetite there for problem solving. Like, how can we make that more a part of our system?
Yeah.
Consider sharing this podcast with a friend. Our next meeting will be in 2 weeks on August 25th, and the guest will be Eva Menifee, a longtime Lansing resident and LCC advisor.
Great. August 25th is also my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday!
Thanks.
May you have a wonderful birthday. Thank you so much, Eric, for being on the podcast.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And thank you to the Public Media Center for letting us record with you. And thank you all for listening. Thank you, Lansing, for trying your best.
And thanks to the Public Media Center for complimenting my hair.
They sure did. Dun, 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 dun.